Hello and welcome back to Lessons in Attachment. If you are brand new here, then welcome. If you're returning, I'm absolutely honored. Today, I want to talk about something so many people quietly struggle with, openly struggle with, which is self-esteem, your self-worth, how we view ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, how we value our place on this earth. And if you're someone who struggles with your self-esteem, then you're going to want to listen to the end because I'm going to give you some top valuable tips that we use in therapy and psychology to help people to genuinely build their self-esteem so that you can live a life from, a place of knowing your worth, a place where you can be more you. If you're someone who often labels yourself in some way as not being good enough, or you find it hard to believe that you're lovable, that you're capable, that you're worthy, or in some ways you just doubt yourself, put yourself in a box, play small, then this one's for you. What I want you to take away from this episode is some gentle but powerful ideas of how you can personally start to change your self-esteem. A little check-in with me. I have been loving running Stuck to Secure. It's the first time I've run it as Stuck to Secure. It's the second time that I've run a 21-day challenge. And what I really love about those of us that love doing the inner work is when you're sharing it with people. And so each day when I'm getting notifications from someone sharing their journey, sharing the challenges, sharing their feedback on the tools, it's so powerful. Even if I get that from one person, I just feel like this is my mission. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, is helping that one person to make a shift in how they see themselves, how they show up in the world, their habits. Because I believe, guys, that we can change. We don't have to stay stuck. We don't have to keep living in the past. We don't have to keep thinking how we've been thinking. We don't have to stay in the same job just because it's all we know. We can make changes. And I think that's so powerful. And so I really, really loved running Stuck to Secure. Okay, let's get into it. The first gentle but powerful way that you can start building your self-worth today is to notice the critical and mean thoughts that you have about yourself and start questioning them. Giving ourselves questions rather than just accepting the way that we think is life-changing. Rather than continuing in the same patterns, to start pausing and questioning these mean critical thoughts that we can fall into, I'm all for it. So much of your self-esteem is shaped by the story that you tell yourself. And for many of us, that story is harsh, it's critical, and it is just plain wrong. You might not even realize that it's happening, but inside your mind has this voice saying things like, I'm not good enough. I shouldn't even bother trying. They don't like me. No one likes me. I always mess things up. Everyone else is going to get it over me. Everyone else is happier than me. These thoughts aren't facts. They're often old beliefs that we've picked up from painful experiences, from what we've been around, what we've witnessed, how we've been treated, and we repeat them and they feel true. Melanie Fennell, who does a lot of work in self-esteem, calls these core beliefs. Yeah, the good news is that we don't have to stay in our old core beliefs. We can change them. We can pay attention to those reoccurring negative thoughts and start to question why they show up, where they're coming from, what is it that we're afraid of. If you start to really look at the thoughts that you're having, asking yourself what experiences and from the past do these relate to? Where have I learned to think this or talk to myself in this way? You'll start to bring stuff into your awareness and you can start to recognize what beliefs you hold about yourself, about relationships, about others, and to start to slowly challenge that, to start to build a new way to view yourself. Next is letting go of the harsh rules that you've been living by. You may not even know that you have been living by certain rules. You don't even realize what's linked to your self-esteem is living in a certain way, invisible expectations that we place on ourselves, the shoulds and the musts that we place on ourselves. I must never upset anyone. I have to be perfect. I should always do well. If I show weakness, then people will leave me. These come from a good place, essentially, but they are rules, and they're unrealistic rules. We can't please everyone. It's impossible to never upset anyone. We can't be perfect. And if we keep living by these rules, it's going to get more and more stressful, more and more overwhelming. The anxiety peaks when these rules get broken, if we think we might have upset someone, if we didn't do something perfectly, if we showed weakness, we're going to fear now that people are going to leave us. These are not realistic rules to live by anymore. These rules are linked so closely with those beliefs that if I behave in a certain way, I'll be loved, I'll be good enough, people won't leave me. But is it really worth it for our own well-being, our own happiness? Ask yourself, what are the rules that you've been living by? What are the shoulds or the musts that have been guiding you? And are they fair? Are they realistic? Are they moving you towards what's important to you? Begin by gently experimenting with softening those rules. Replace "I must get everything right" with "it's okay to make mistakes. I can learn, I can grow. That's okay." We have to be human. We have to allow ourselves that space to be human. Next is to take brave action in line with your values. Self-esteem work requires you to look at what you value in your life, what is important to you, who is important to you. Are you moving towards that? That is how you value yourself. If we're not showing ourselves that kind of understanding, that kind of self-love, then it's very hard to believe in our value, to believe that we are worthy if we're not acting in alignment with that. We talk so much about values when it comes to self-esteem. Building self-esteem through you taking action, but not just any action. Action that is important to you and that matters to you, not those shoulds and musts. When you act in ways that reflect your values, it moves you away from those rules. When you act in the way towards the kind of person that you want to be, you'll start to feel more proud. From that, we start to feel more intuitive, more grounded, more like ourselves, more confident in who we are. It might feel like that's too big. How do I get there? But we start small. We've spoken about changing how you talk to yourself and recognizing those negative thoughts. Melanie Fennell also encourages that we get out into the world, that we do little things that reflect who we want to be, even when they feel uncomfortable. So ask yourself what kind of person you want to be. What matters to you? Maybe it's honesty, maybe it's curiosity, maybe it's adventure, maybe it's connection. Look into small, manageable ways that you can make this happen. You can live in a way that you value, because I come back to happiness again. You deserve happiness. Happiness is yours. But we tend to feel happier when we're living in alignment with what we value as individuals, not what we think other people want us to be, not when we fall into those shoulds and musts and those rules that I spoke about. And finally, I've touched on this already, but I want to make it into its own clear, gentle, actionable step. The most important shift, one of the most important, I have to say that because it depends on you individually, but this is something that is just so close to my heart, so close to the work that I do. When it comes to building your self-esteem, we need to learn to treat ourselves with compassion. You talk to yourself in ways that you would never talk to anyone else. I mentioned the inner critic. Really think about the language that you use for yourself. I've worked with people who swear at themselves, call themselves names. They say things like, "You're pathetic. Why can't you just get it together? Everyone else can." Imagine how it would feel if your inner voice was kind, encouraging, and supportive, especially when you mess up or feel down. That's what self-compassion is about. It's about treating yourself like you would a friend. It's not about letting yourself off the hook. It's about creating that safe inner space where healing and confidence can happen. You can recognize the inner critic and we can challenge that, and that is so important. That is that first step that I mentioned about, that we turn down the volume of our inner critic, but we must access as well our inner compassionate self and turn up the volume on that. How would it feel if you could be more compassionate towards yourself? If you're going to start noticing your inner critic, you can start to ask yourself instead, how would I speak to a friend in this moment? What would be a softer way to look at this? How can I relax towards myself? And I ask you that, I put the question towards you. How can you relax towards yourself? Where do you need to relax towards yourself a bit more? I bet I could ask the people around you what they would say that's kind and compassionate and understanding, and they would be able to form a whole list. The question is, can you? Can you create that list about yourself? Because we should be able to, right? It's normal that we can say kind, compassionate things to ourselves, and we deserve that. So let's recap these 4 ways to start building your self-esteem. Notice and gently challenge the mean, negative thoughts in your mind. Turn down the volume. Let go of unrealistic rules and soften the expectations you live by. Take small, brave actions that reflect your values and the person that you want to be. And finally, practice speaking to yourself and treating yourself with kindness and compassion. Turn up the volume on that inner compassionate self. If you're on a journey to feel more secure in who you are, just take this as your reminder that you can change the way that you see yourself, and that will change your connections. It will change your relationships. It will change your well-being. It doesn't happen overnight. It's step by step. It's a commitment. It's a commitment to yourself. It's dating yourself. It's treating yourself with respect. Thought by thought, step by step, you can build a new relationship with yourself. We have to build a secure relationship with ourselves. If this episode has helped you in any way, send it to someone who needs to hear it. You never know the difference that could make. Please do the subscribing, the sharing, the downloading, the rating, because I really want this podcast to get to the people that need it. Follow me on Instagram if you're not already. Why not? Carly.ann_. And until next time, I'll see you back here very soon.